Hello, Pod Posse. It's me, Lindsay the Stager, coming to you live with Design Time from the Floor Up. And today I get to interview Dylan Jankovich. Hello, Dylan.
Hey, how's it going?
He's not 23 like he looks. He's an ex-Marine and he's 30. And he is a social media savvy realtor and flipper from Texas. How cute is he? Welcome, Dylan.
Thank you. I got to throw out, I am Army. I don't want the Marines mad.
Right. Sorry. Army. I heard Marines.
You're good.
I don't, and you can tell me the difference later, but still, we're going to keep it high and tight is my point.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So in all of our hundreds and thousands of episodes, or maybe 22, we've never had a flipper. But we'll get to that in a second. Here's how I want to start. Okay. So I am a home stager, and my career and income depends on the real estate industry. I shit you not. When school started August 28th, the market came to a record screeching standstill. Are you experiencing that in Texas?
Yeah. So, and we get that every year, and there's a lot of people that freak out. I mean, last year I had a lot of people that were planning on just getting out of the industry completely exactly like you said, the school year starting, and they were like, I don't know what I'm going to do. The market's crashing. And it's very hard to let people know, no, this is just a seasonal thing. It happens every year. The real estate market goes a lot around children, really, because a lot of people have families.
Because when people are in school, then they're all where they're supposed to be for the year.
Exactly. It's very difficult to move kids in the middle of a semester. So we get a ton, the summer is the hot season, and then we'll get a little bit around December. That's when it starts picking up again after the school year starts. And it kind of depends on the area, depending on how their school works. But at least in Texas,
and then these interest rates.
Yeah.
So this is a funny fact. My dad told me that 45 years ago, when they bought their first house, this is ridiculous. Are you ready for this? That the interest rates were up to 16%. 16! That's double what they are now, and the whole world is freaking out.
Yeah.
What the what?
I talk to a lot of people. It's called a recency bias. So basically, instead of people looking at the whole picture, they're looking at what was the most recent thing. And so they bought at 2.5%, 3% interest rates, and most of them weren't even alive when rates were at 16. And so That's all they're used to. I would not have guessed that. So let me explain this.
I'm so much older than you, you little cutie. But anyway, let me try to explain this in podcast terms. So what we were seeing before is the over asking game. I got to get in the game. I got to put in $75,000 over asking.
Yeah.
So there was that. And people did that, and it was crazy. And I was still staging a ton of homes. Constant work.
Right.
Never a dull moment. Now, the interest rates have jumped to almost 8%, and that is scaring people more because it means more of a monthly payment. Am I right here?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why would you rather put up $75,000 more upfront than have a higher monthly payment? Why is this such a scare that is keeping everybody from borrowing from the bank?
Yeah, I think...
Hit it.
I think a lot of the idea was people were seeing the market continuing to increase. And so again, going into what is happening now, it's what people are focusing on. They said, okay, well, if it's just going to keep increasing, sure, I'll pay over, but eventually it's going to be worth that. And now as they're seeing it the other way, there's a lot of fear. And you see in the media and stuff, there's fears of crashes and everything. There's all of the sky is falling people. And so I think that narrative is getting bought into a little more.
How grateful are we all that the government did not shut down, because then the world really would have started to fall. The sky would have started to fall.
Yeah, Absolutely. Especially with, I work around Fort Cavazos quite a bit, which it was Hood before for people that haven't seen the name switch. It's the biggest by size and the second biggest by population Army base that we have. So yeah, having a shutdown would have meant some pretty dire situations for a lot of soldiers.
Terrible.
Yeah.
So then here we are. It's October 3rd when we're doing this interview. Posse, I know you'll see a little later. Sorry. But what do we do, Dylan? I mean, like, what are we supposed to do? Do you have to decide as a realtor and a stager and a real estate photographer that you need to have all of your money made by the end of August? Or what are you going to say?
Yeah, so honestly, what I've seen a little bit more is a little bit of a flip. So we get a bit of an earlier jump in the market because the military's moved to a November PCS season, which is a permanent change of station. It's when people move what bases they work at. So that happens around November.
I'm learning so much from you.
But I do see quite a few, just in terms of the like real estate, and this is what money I need to make, working with quite a few investors, people who have flexible timelines, because the majority of sellers who are actually putting their properties on the market in this like late August, September timeframe, a lot of times it's because something has come up in their life that they can't wait. And so you have some more negotiating room. Now that's obviously not always the case. Some people are willing to wait, but I do have a lot of investors that are making out really well right now. And then alternatively, talking to people who are able to be a little more flexible in their move timeline, or maybe they can purchase and move in like a month later, so that they are able to get their property when they can negotiate before I call them the New Year's buyers come out.
So you're saying that you have these investors and that it's not about resale and like the market being like where the kids are for the family homes, but you're talking about the investors who are investing in new construction?
New construction,
or flipping.
resales, flips, kind of a little of all of it. So yeah, I've got a bunch of multifamily right now that we have listed.
Dylan, how many homes do you sell a year in Texas?
We are at 50 year to date. So
amazing. That's a lot.
We're doing all right.
Posse, just so you know, the average is like 1 to 2 a month for most realtors.
Yeah.
This is what makes Dylan a high producer, a top producer, because he's at 50 year to date. That's awesome. Congratulations, dude.
Thank you. It's been busy.
How did you end up in Texas? Or were you born there?
I was not. I was actually born in California. So I'm one of those obnoxious transplants they talk about out here. But I actually came because of the military.
Okay. And how long were you in the military?
So 5 years in the military, and I actually did 4 years at a military academy as well. So it doesn't really count.
Was it called Valley Forge?
It was West Point, actually.
Interesting. My brother went to Valley Forge, but not because he was interested in the military, but because he was bad.
I have heard a lot about Valley Forge. It is a difficult place to be.
Yes.
So
they potty train those soldiers at gunpoint. How about that?
That's one way to put it. Yeah.
So you're transplanted from California to Texas. You're in the military for what's sounding like a total of 9 years.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay. And so how in the world did you get into real estate?
So when I bought my first house, so West Point has a really good alumni network. And so one of the people that graduated before me, he reached out to kind of our whole class and said, anybody's coming to Fort Hood, let me know if you want to buy a house. And I had always wanted to buy a house. My family actually lost some properties in 2008. And so we'd been renting since then. And I was like, I have to own my house. And then I got really interested in it, just like learning about the market. So this guy helps me buy a house, and we were pretty close in age. And he actually would invite me over to play poker. And we were getting drunk one night playing poker. And He goes, hey, man.
Yes, I love this story.
He goes, hey, man, you've got a good personality for real estate. I think that you should get your license. And I kind of just like, push it off as like just drunken chat. And then he kept hitting me up about it. And I was like, you know what? Fine. I'll get my license. Worst case scenario, I just sell my own house someday.
Right.
Got my license, ended up, I hopped on the MLS.
I'm married to someone just like that.
Yeah.
Just because he has to have all the licenses, even if he doesn't use it. It's just, I need to have them.
That's like Tom Cruise. Is that who you're married to?
I'm not married to Tom Cruise, Dylan, but that's a very interesting question that I've never been asked before. I am married to a man named Brian Mears.
But yeah, I got my license while I was active duty still.
Hold on.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you think that anybody's ever asked Tom Cruise if he was married to Lindsay Wilson?
I think so.
Do you know that when my parents lived in New Jersey, in Montclair, New Jersey, they lived right next door to where Tom Cruise grew up?
Really?
How about that for some useless trivia? Yes. Speaking of Tom Cruise, that's all I know about him.
Fair enough.
Next.
But so he pushed me to get my license. I was still active duty at the time. Really enjoyed it. I would, work our ridiculous hours that we did in the Army, and then I would come home and I would still want to learn more about the market and about real estate. And
did you think that taking the test was hard and studying for the test for the license?
Oh, so I went in a little overconfident. I passed the national exam on my first try. I passed national first try. State, I did not. And I was blown away because I've always been a very good test taker. And it was a lot more difficult than I anticipated.
Wow. Nothing like a slice of humble pie in your face to like take you right down.
Absolutely.
So then you take the state again and you got it this time.
I did. I got it my second time.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, honestly,
Awesome.
That was probably a good experience getting that slice of humble pie early because there's very few things that will humble you more than starting in real estate. Because the issue with it is you don't know what you don't know. And so what happens is you get in front of a client and you start telling them things, and then they ask you a question and you realize you have no clue what they're asking.
Totally.
And
so let me just tell you something, Dylan. As a home stager, when you say you don't know what you don't know, my job as a stager, I have to be a solutionista. I have to know what I didn't know I needed to know I didn't know.
That's tough.
I mean, I have to figure out like all of the reasons and explain cheerfully but firmly why things have to be the way that they have to be. And people don't want to take the litter box out of the bathtub, damn it. People don't want to take down their crucifix, a collection of crosses over their bed.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And I have to explain why that is.
Yeah.
And some people are like, no, I'm not doing it.
In Texas, we've got a lot of the animal heads, stuff like that. So.
Yeah. The taxidermy. Yeah. So, Dylan, this is something that I wasn't thinking of asking you, but I totally should. Do you use a stager?
So sometimes, we have a lot of, because of the military, just the way the military is, most people are still in their houses. So we'll come by, and actually my assistant does some, we call it light staging. So we'll bring a couple little plants, things to make the property pop. But nothing, we're typically not doing anything where we're bringing furniture in because they have their own.
So let me tell you something that's going to blow your mind. Are you ready? It's a good thing you're sitting down. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
I don't have any furniture. I don't have any inventory, and I don't want to. I am an occupied staging specialist.
Oh.
I want to come into the homes that people are living in.
Yeah.
And we walk through and I say, we need to get rid of the crucifixes, litter box out of the bathtub.
Yeah.
No family portraits, no Annabelle over the crib, all of that.
Yeah.
And then when I've given them the list of everything that they need to do, I come back like 2 weeks to a month later and like just make the home look like a model home, but really warm and yummy and cuddly. And that's right before the pictures are taken. And then I show them how to like live in a staged home with pets and children.
That was going to be my next question.
So that when they have the showings, it still feels like this, oh my God, this feels like home. It's so warm and cozy here. Let's live here.
Yeah.
So why is this brand new information to you? Why wouldn't you consider making your lived in homes feel like that?
So that is a bit of what we do with that like light staging that my assistant comes in, but I don't know what it is. We really don't have many companies around the military base here that do that.
So you're talking about a vacant home though?
But we do it on both. We do it on both the resales and the vacant homes. A lot of times when I think of staging, I guess I assume it is bringing furniture in and like fully decking out the house. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really considered, and we do a lot of that. I've never really considered that as like, oh, we're staging a home, but I guess it is.
And now you know that was the whole reason why you came here.
Exactly.
Goodbye.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you and good night. But also a lot of my realtors call me the bad guy because I'm the one that walks into the house and say, it smells like cat piss in here.
Yeah.
And they don't want to say that. And I don't want them to say that because I want you, the realtor, to keep your relationship with your seller. Right. And I will be the bad guy. And I will say, I know that your son thinks that he's using this under the stair hideaway space privately, but I can smell the bong water. How about that?
Yeah, no, and that's actually a very helpful thing too, because the agent doesn't have to be the bad guy.
You don't want to point it out, right?
Yeah, because a lot of times you'll offend people telling them that their house smells like urine, and they're like, "What?" Because that's embarrassing for them too. And,
I know,
and it makes that relationship tough.
I say it in a funny, sweet way.
Good.
Like, I know that you don't want me to know that you have 75 cats, but I can smell it as soon as I walk in. And when you list your house, we're going to have to take those 75 cats in your car, and you're going to have to drive around for an hour and a half.
I can only imagine.
Do you want to start giving them away? Could you imagine?
No.
Like, where would you sit in your house if you had 75 cats?
Goodness. Yeah. No, please no. I'm thankful that my fiance is allergic.
Your fiance? Did you say your fiance?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my fiance.
Dylan, who are you going to get married to?
Her name is Lori Jabley. So we've been together for about 5 years now. It took a little while, but we were long distance for a good portion of that. So the Army likes to move you. Oh, that's
so good. That means that you guys are like solid. If you can handle the long distance, you can do it all. It's really not true. I'm married. This is my third husband that I'm with. And my starter husband was the one that like we did the long distance. But I have a lot of faith in you. You're going to be fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That vote of confidence.
So what does she do, and when are you getting married?
So she actually works for Amazon now. She was a dietitian for a while, dietetics manager at the hospital, and she was very overworked and underpaid. And then Amazon bought out PillPack, which is a mobile pharmacy. And so she is in charge of their compliance, so setting up the pharmacies across the country. And it's really interesting too, because she was concerned about joining Amazon because working in the hospital, you're like, oh, I'm all about helping people, and now I'm selling out for the man. But Amazon is, at least in this industry, the little guy. So they're the ones that are picked on by big pharma. And so they actually get to, with PillPack, they get to make a difference. And try to make pharmaceuticals much cheaper and more accessible to kind of everybody in the country. So it's been nice.
Interesting. I wonder if she knows my husband, Brian Mears, who I call Bikes, because he does all of the marketing for Orgain.
I will ask her.
Ask her if she knows, she's a
small
dietitian.
world.
They do podcasts with dietitians all the time. Maybe they've met her.
Yeah. She's a little quiet, so I know she hasn't been on any of the social media stuff, but yeah, I'll ask because she very well may know him. She knows a lot of the people in the industry.
When are you getting married?
Not sure yet. So we've got a lot of ideas tossed around. A lot of it kind of revolves around her dad's health. So we are waiting to kind of see some results from that before we set a date.
Awesome. I wish you all the luck.
Thank you.
Marriage is terrible. You're going to love it.
Yes, you. Look at your floor right now. Is it the floor of your dreams? If it is, I think you should probably raise your standards. And if it's not...
Florally, your premier source for designer-inspired floor. Use Florally's live chat with real human beings to answer your flooring questions and even book a free in-home consultation.
Don't forget, design starts from the floor up.
And we're back. Okay, so I really want to know about the flipping portion of the program.
Yes.
What do you flip? How do you flip? How many do you flip? What does it cost? Tell me everything.
So, try to focus single families. However, I do have an 8-unit that we're working on right now. They are a lot more work than I originally anticipated. But yeah, so got my start had a very, very easy flip. That was our very first one. And it was more or less just like lipstick on a pig kind of thing, just making it cosmetic, prettying it up.
Whoa. Hold on. Back that ass up, Dylan. Hold on just a sec. Where did you acquire the money to invest in buying your property to even make the lipstick on the pig?
Yeah, so it was really just getting some buddies together. I did not want to take out a hard money loan for my very first one. I was really concerned about that because I knew numbers. I'd been doing real estate for a while, but I'd never actually flipped a home. So I was like, I feel like this is going to be way off. I don't know if I can account for the random things that may pop up. So I had quite a few buddies that just had some money. And so we put that together and did our first.
Nobody has that, by the way. Nobody has quite a few buddies that have a lot of money.
Well, okay. Now keep in mind that around here, I think our first one we bought for $90,000. So this was...
Okay, I was going to ask you that. I love it when you tell me exactly what we're dealing with. Good.
Yeah,
90,
so this
000.
was before the COVID craze and everything was much more expensive. So around Killeen, which is by the military base, we were able to get a pretty decent property for $90,000. And then anticipated 20 to fix it. It actually took us closer to 35.
I was going to say.
Yeah, and it took us a lot longer.
What do you think put you over the edge? Like when you said 20,000, were you thinking quartz countertops? Were you thinking new cabinets? Were you thinking LVP floors? Were you thinking a new bathroom? Like 20 is like
so
a little.
It was really, it was floors, it was paint. We weren't replacing the cabinetry. And then we weren't expecting to replace it. Well, we were going to do the kitchen appliances, but like water heater and HVAC, we were not expecting to have to do.
Right.
Another thing is that I never went in the attic. And so I didn't realize that they basically had zero insulation. Yeah. So we had a couple issues with some of that stuff. I underestimated costs a lot because it was also like right at the start of COVID.
Right.
And so costs were kind of creeping up as we were doing the work. So that hurt. We had a water heater that broke. And then I was expecting to do a lot of the work myself and realized midway through that I am not that handy.
Oh, that's such a good early realization, though.
Yeah. So
Of
lots
all
of
the
things. Yeah, lots of things that I now outsource instead of doing myself.
Like, what did you think you could do? Did you think that you could, like, lay new floors?
I was going to do everything. I was going to do that. I was painting. I was getting the, what's it called? The popcorn ceilings.
You just came
up.
in with your hammer swinging.
Yeah. It's like, let's go.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. The popcorn ceilings, I realize, is one of the worst things that I've ever done.
Worst.
Yeah.
And it's such a mess.
It was
It is such a mess.
I will never do that myself again.
Yeah. I know.
But yeah,
Well, hold on.
yeah.
So you buy the house for 90, you put in 35. Now we're at 125.
Mm-hmm.
Who bought it and for how much?
So we were able to sell it for 150. So not a
Amazing.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We covered some closing costs. It wasn't a huge profit. It wasn't a huge win from a like a flipping perspective. But because we didn't have that hard money loan where we were going to have, it'd be an extra 10% on top of the loan, that would have been 12K right there. And then because I'm an agent, I listed myself, so saved another couple thousand. So
I think that you did a great job. I mean, that is just so that you can put more money in the next pot.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it was. Our whole idea was getting the experience, like the education, even if we made a little bit of a loss, is worth more than, obviously I'd love to make a huge profit on it, but it was worth it, even though it was pretty close to breaking even, we made a little bit on it, but yeah.
You got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
And also, how many have you done since then?
So I did another single family after that. And then we've done I don't want to call it a duplex because it's a single family with a barn that was made into an apartment, which is interesting. And then a lot of my work has been on this 8-unit. So that has been a major, major product over the past year.
And also, Dylan, can I just say from a motherly perspective how proud I am of you already for what you've accomplished?
Thank you.
I mean, this is major. You're only 30. You have 9 years of military under your belt. You're getting married to what sounds like a really good, grounded, smart girl. I hope she's pretty too.
She's very pretty.
And, and you're like doing, like selling houses, but also you've taken on this great other animal of flipping, which is gonna, the more you do, the more money you get, the better you get, the more you get back, the faster you sell them, so that you're not like paying the interest on the loan and all that. Don't you watch what's his name?
Yes,
Tarek?
I do.
Yeah.
Who?
Tarek. Isn't that his name?
Sure.
The guy that does, remember, he's married to Christina. She now has her own spin, Christina on the Coast.
Oh.
And they did.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. And they did the flipping show. What's it called? The Flip or Flop.
There we go.
Thank you. Yes. Do you watch that show?
Not a ton. So I'm like the worst. I watch very little HGTV stuff. I've always been the type that like wants to go out and I don't even watch sports. I would rather like get with my buddies and go play some football outside or something. Which we actually do every
we want
Wednesday.
this to be an HGTV show eventually, so then you're going to have to watch it.
I'll
and you'll
watch
be
it,
like,
yeah.
I was on there. I know Lindsay the Stager is what you can say. That'll be your claim to fame.
That'll be my claim to fame.
And then, yes, and then we can come to Texas and I can help you with the selections for the design when you flip another house.
That would be awesome because that's one part that I am not great with. I go to my fiance and her cousin all the time. So
interesting.
Yeah, they're my staging team.
I love that. Your board of directors.
Yeah.
Oh. So what do you think? So I hate it when you have to run into things that you weren't planning on, like the HVAC and the bad insulation and like all that. It's just like, can't we just like not have that to pay for and blow it on the 9-foot marble slab on the island?
Exactly. Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
So where do you get the money when they come to you and they say, oh, by the way, it's going to be $9,000 for the HVAC. And then you're like, shit, now we can't have stainless steel appliances.
Yeah, so I always do have a decent reserve on hand. And that's, I think, a very important thing with these is making sure that you've got a pretty significant reserve. I also admittedly tend to over renovate properties. So there is always the law of diminishing returns. So the idea when you're flipping typically is that you're going to make it a little bit above what the rest of the comparable properties are at. However, my mindset when I flip properties is you really only get to do a flip every decade or two, because a couple requirements to be able to flip a property are that, one, there is potential for gains. Two, somebody has equity in it. And then three, there is a need to sell at, maybe a lower price for a quicker sale or something. So without those factors, you really can't sell it. If somebody just bought their property 6 months ago, you're not going to be able to buy it at a price where you can actually put any work into it. And what that means is...
And when you say that you've over renovated, what are you seeing in your experience that gets you the highest return on your investment?
Yeah. So, and a lot of times it's not necessarily the highest return on investment, but what I'm looking at is building the community. So again, you don't get to flip it that often. And so if you're going to do it, the way I see it is like, do it really well. Because this is a community, I'm flipping in a community that I live in. And so I want to see the community grow. I want to see the houses nicer, even if it means that I'm not going to profit on every single cent. I'm still making enough to where I'm happy with it. And then somebody else can be very happy with the property that they're getting.
So Dylan, you're trying to rock the block. You're trying to flip a whole bunch of houses in a community to make them not look like crack houses, but to make them look like new home buyer, single family homes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so good. You're such a good deed doer on top of that. I thought that you were going to say, oh, kitchens and baths, because that's what everybody says, that the highest return on your investment is. And it is. But what absolutely. You said is just adorable and so good.
Thank you. But
what do you see happening in the future? What are you going to do next? Rescue dogs or something?
Yeah. So we have done quite a bit of fostering. Our house is kind of full now. We picked up our 4th dog. And we just got her spayed yesterday.
You do. You have the house of 75 cats, don't you?
Yeah. We're those people.
I know that you don't want me to know that you have 75 cats, but I can smell it as soon as I walk in.
So yeah, she was an unintentional adoption. She was a stray, and somebody posted. It was like Mother's Day. It was raining, and somebody posted, like, this dog's been out here for at least 24 hours. Can somebody please give her a home for just a couple of days until we can find her a foster? And I was like, sure, we'll run over, we'll pick her up. And she was punk. She was kind of dog aggressive, and then realized that she was unspayed and she's a husky, and that's a really common dog that gets bred at puppy mills. So I was like, okay, we'll find her a home, but we've got to make sure that she is okay with dogs so she doesn't get put down, and that she's spayed so that she doesn't get bred. And then all of the shelters and everybody was full for several months. And so now we fell in love and we're keeping her.
I love that. Oh, what a good story. And so then that's your 4th dog?
That is our 4th dog. And so if we're going to have more, it's probably going to be something more like a rescue. So at the moment, we don't have... You guys
are going to be great at having children, is the moral of the story.
Fingers crossed.
And eyes.
But yeah, so we don't have a shelter yet, probably sometime in the future, but we try to help out with the the shelters and the rescues around the area as much as we can. So that's actually,
So hold on a second.
Oh,
so
yeah.
seriously, you are thinking after rescuing the fourth dog or fostering her,
Yeah.
that you're going to have a shelter called like Dylan's Safe Place?
Maybe someday. So there's actually, and Texas is kind of known for having a lot of land. So one of the fosters that we've worked with is Herding Home Rescue. So they help with a lot of herding dogs.
Oh, I thought you said herding, like
No,
herding.
not. Yeah, they just beat them.
Like herding.
Herding,
You know?
Herd. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so they have a lot of herding dogs, like your Aussies,
Herding.
your Collies, stuff like that. And so we actually, like, some of the additional materials we had from a flip, we brought over there so that they could redo their floors and some stuff. So try to help them out with fostering as well. But I don't know how many more dogs we can really have in this house. So it's going to be more monetary support at this point.
Until, you know what you should do? You know what you should do, Dylan? I have a great idea. What if the next place that you decide to flip, you turn into the shelter?
That would actually be really cool. We
I mean,
talk
why
about
wouldn't you
stuff
do
like
that?
that too. We've talked about that with the wedding venue too. We're like, why not find a beat down wedding venue and flip it, do our wedding there, and then sell it or keep running it? Yeah.
Perfect. Do you want me to come and help you?
Yes, please do.
I'm just right around the corner.
Yeah, it's hop, skip, and a jump.
Do you even know where I am? Do you know where I'm located right now?
You're way out in the... Well, okay. You know what? Before I say this, I'm really bad at geography. I was going to say the Northeast. Is that where it is?
That is close. I am in
Okay.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay. I roughly know.
So we are like...
I am the
we're like,
worst with geography. I'll just throw that.
Me
Even
too.
of the U.S.
I missed that part
My
in school.
last December, my buddies from the Dominican, and we were heading out there, and his wife kept being like, yeah, like, I love traveling. I've never been to Europe. I want to go. And I was like, me. We're going to the Dominican. And she was like, yeah. And she's like, thinking I meant, oh yeah, like, you travel enough. The DR's cool. And then she realized after I said it a few times, she's like, wait, do you think the DR is in Europe? And I was like, no.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, geography, not my subject.
I just went to visit my college bestie this weekend in Minnesota. And
Minnesota.
so I go to the airport and I'm like, where the fuck am I going? Where's Minnesota? So I had to like Google a US map.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's on the Dakotas. It's under Canada. Fine. I'll just act like I knew that all along.
Yeah, of course.
But do you know the craziest thing? And Britt's telling us that we have to wrap it up.
Okay.
So I need to like stop talking if
Okay.
that's even possible. But it was 90 degrees in Minnesota, right under Canada. And usually this time of year, it's snowing. It
Yeah.
was 90 degrees. It was hotter there than it was here.
That's insane. Wow.
I know.
I mean,
All
it's
right.
still cooler
So
than
this
here.
is what I want
but
to
yeah.
say. I feel like you have given us so much information today about the word I'm looking for is tenacity. You have stuck with the military for 9 years. Now you've gotten your license, and I think that you are very successful with that because you have 50 properties to show for it. You have stuck with a relationship for 5 years, which is such an accomplishment. And you're flipping, and I just gave you this phenomenal idea of how to even make that go into something else because of your dog rescue. It's all happening. You're welcome and goodbye. No, but seriously, Dylan, thank you for coming and talking to me. What I want you to tell every single person that you run into at the grocery store, the gas station, the library, everything, is about occupied stagers.
Yes, I will.
And that stagers do not just come with furniture. They work with what you have.
I will. We need to get you out here.
And they're the bad guy. I know. Would you like to know my availability?
I would. Yes.
I'll tell you later.
Okay, sounds good.
Anyway,
Well,
thank you, Dylan Jankovich from Texas, who's a realtor and a flipper. Thank you, Pod Posse, for hanging with me one last time while I take it from the floor up. And if you are enjoying yourself, would you please like and subscribe to this podcast? All right.
thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Dylan. I will catch you on the flip side.
Thank you very much. I
Peace.
appreciate it. You have a good one.
You too. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying this episode, please like, comment, or subscribe. If you don't like it, then off.